What is up, movie viewers? Dena Views and Reviews here, asking what you watching. Well, today I am watching I See You, and it is one of Dena Views and Reviews recommendations. This movie stars Alan Hunt, John Tenney, Judah Lewis, Owen Teague, Libe Barra, Gregory Allen Williams. It is written by Devin Gray. It is directed by Adam Randall. It is produced by Matt Waldick, Mark Andrew Hamer, Eric Fisher, James Atherton, Jordan Byer. Now, I See You first premiered at the 2019 SXSW Film Festival. It is a movie mystery. It is also a horror and thriller. The movie centers around a small family. The father's name is Greg, the mother's name is Jackie, and there is a young male son whose name is Connor. The movie opens and it's showing a very peaceful neighborhood and a young Caucasian child. Now, it is later discovered that this child is said to be 10 years old. His name is Justin Witter. He is riding his bike through the woods when it appears something unseen causes him to be pulled from his bike, and you see his body in very slow motion being thrown from the bike, and it is going up in the air, but the bicycle, it continues to go forward, but he's thrown from his bike. Now, because he vanishes, he is later listed as being kidnapped, and the detectives discover a green knife at the location in the woods where he was said to be seen last. It is a reminder to these investigators of a case that happened 15 years ago that was closed. In this case, there were boys that were disappearing, and at that time, the kidnapper who was caught would leave a green knife as his signature. Now, after the killer was caught and detained, the two young boys that were there were actually rescued, and they were rescued alive, of course, and they were in captivity for a very long time with the kidnapper. So one of the children's name is Tommy. He is an adult, of course, at this time. He is a survivor of that kidnapping, and he today looks very odd, and they decided to go to this young man to find out if it can help them in their case with these missing children, because he was a former kidnapped child. So when the investigators go to visit Tommy and attempt to try and get information about his experience with the kidnapper, Tommy actually starts to scream, "No, no, no." His face is disfigured. He's had a lot of issues after being a part of such a horrible experience. Understandable. But as the movie continues on, it shows the wife, again, her name is Jackie, and she is preparing breakfast for her son, Connor. He's such a sassy, disrespectful little boy, and he is so reluctant to respond to the conversation that she is trying to have with him. The whole while I'm watching this movie, in my head, I am thinking, is that the same house or set from the movie called The Watch? Because it has a gorgeous kitchen that I love, and that island that I simply adore. The set seemed very familiar in this movie. I have seen it used in other movies. But once again, back to the movie. There is clearly something that has occurred within the family that has this child upset. He's being rude and disrespectful to his mother, because he eventually tells her, "Mom, it was a shitty thing that you did." Spoiler alert, she cheated. And now it has her family shattered, and there is so much hostility towards the mother from both the husband and her son. The mother, later at work, calls her husband on the phone to speak with him. But on the phone, she's trying to make small conversation with him. The husband is very short with her, and he's very rude and terminates the conversation by hanging up on her mid-sentence. Then he's so angry, he throws the telephone so hard that it busts out the glass in their bedroom window. He is clearly not over that cheating she done. So this father, who is very bitter, Greg, is a detective, and he is the lead detective on this particular case that involves the disappearance of these young boys that have gone missing. Later on, when the mother returns home, she notices that the utensil drawer is open in their kitchen, and all of the silverware has been removed from it. It is very odd. They are all gone. None, they're completely gone from the kitchen. They vanished, they disappeared. While she is investigating this drawer being opened, she hears a noise that's coming from upstairs, and she goes to find what is making that noise. And as she is walking towards where the sound is coming from, and it's coming from the master bedroom, a huge man appears, and he's frightened her. But he explains that he is the repairman that her husband called to repair the window that was broken when he got angry in the bedroom. And he lets her know that her nice daughter let him in. She tries to stop him and better understand. She said she's shocked to hear it because she doesn't have a daughter. Dun dun dun. Just the son, remember, Connor. But strange things kept occurring within their home, like the TV was cutting itself back on once she cuts it off. It just kept turning itself back on. Then the hamster was found out of his cage, and when the father goes to get him from the closet that he ran into to put him back into the cave, the door to the closet miraculously closes, and he is locked. And he is hitting on the door, yelling, trying to get out of this closet. And eventually his wife comes upstairs and opens the door for him to get out. Then the record player mysteriously starts to play by itself as well. But because of their marital issues, the father, who has been sleeping downstairs on the couch, decides to move into their guest bedroom. And as he is sleeping in the room, the covers are mysteriously pulled from over him. The person that the wife cheated with, his name is Todd. Now, Todd actually surprises the wife as she's standing outside one morning and pops up at her home, telling her he loves her and he wants them to be together. She is very reluctant. She tells him she's made her decision, but he's kissing her. And they're right on the porch of her home. He is very bold. But all of a sudden, a coffee mug drops from the sky and hits Todd in the head. He begins to bleed and he seems a bit disoriented. Jackie runs in the house and grabs a towel, and she helps him inside and takes him to the basement to wait there until she returns from dropping off her son at school. So she wants to take him to school, and she wants to come back so she can take him to the hospital to have his head looked at because it's bleeding. So he takes a seat. He's sitting in the garage. She goes to find her son. In the meantime, Connor is in the house brushing his teeth, and he begins to hear a weird sound coming from upstairs. He goes to investigate the sound and is called by his mom, who finds the record player playing once again by itself. So she asks Connor if he turned it on, and he replies to her no. She then takes Connor to school. But while she is gone, remember the man that she was cheating with, Todd, he is sitting in her basement, and he is holding this towel to his wound that he has on his head that is bleeding, and he seems to be looking. He decides to look through her drawers or different cabinets to see if he could find some kind of first aid to assist him because he's still bleeding. He gets up to look into a cabinet, and someone hits him over the head with a baseball bat. You don't see the someone, but someone hits him and he falls to the floor. So when Jackie returns, she finds him laying in his own blood. He's dead. She thinks that it is her son who has done this, but she never calls the police. Instead, she calls her husband. Remember, he's the detective. And he comes, he shows up, and she tells him what has happened, and she's convinced that it is her son that has done this. So she wanted to try to protect him because Greg and her decided it was more important that they protect their child. But Greg actually helps Jackie to get rid of the body by loading it up in the back of his truck, driving to the woods, digging a hole, and burying the body. There are so many parts that I just did not quite understand the family's response to. One, of course, was the son, Connor, who was sitting at his desk, and he was checking the camera over his PC. You know, he was playing a game, but he decided to check the camera because he heard a sound in the house. And it turned out to be the sound of the silverware in the dryer. He's there by himself, but the dryer, he can hear a noise. He goes down and finds, like I said, it's the dryer, and he opens it to find all of the missing silverware in a pillowcase. And as he checks the camera footage on his PC, and it's showing the inside of the house, he sees a person on camera actually inside their home. I didn't understand that part. It kind of threw me off a bit. But there's a person that is standing right behind him with a mask on. Now, when the parents return, they find that their son is in the bathtub and he's taped and bound. He also looked as if he'd been drugged or something. But the father helps to put him in the car, tells his wife to hurry and take him to the hospital. He then goes back into the home to find the person that has done this. He's looking from room to room with his gun drawn. Still again, never calling the police. If you want to find out what happens next, you will just have to check this movie out for yourself. I will say, though, that this is quite an interesting movie with an unexpected twist, and it is why I gave this movie a 3 stars out of 5. The movie gave the impression that it was something supernatural taking place within the home and around that family, but there is a very unexpected twist, and it really made this movie interesting and contributed to me giving this film a 3 out of 5 stars. I See You is rated R. Maturity rating 16 plus, and it is currently streaming on Netflix and on Prime. Like, share, and be sure to subscribe and leave me a comment on your thoughts on this movie recommendation. This has been Dena Mo Views and Reviews. Join me for my next review and our recommendation, and I want you to remember, it's my view. Now, what you watching?